Hi, Nathan Brookwood. I'm the research fellow at Insight 64. Insight 64 is a market research and consulting organization. We're based in Saratoga, California, and we follow the chips that go into PCs, servers, and these days even some smartphones. Well, I think that Intel's made some interesting strides in terms of its graphics elements of these chips, and of course they've also improved the raw performance of the x86 side of the Core i5s and 7s. So if you're looking for the ultimate in terms of computational performance and you're using Windows, these products are going to be hard to beat. I think the story between Intel and AMD remains pretty much the same with this next generation of chips. If you are looking for maximum performance in an x86 kind of environment, then Intel is the game to beat. On the other hand, if you are concerned more with graphics performance with an integrated chip, such as what we had with Sandy Bridge and now with Ivy Bridge, what AMD had last year with Llano, and this year with the forthcoming Trinity, AMD is the best game in town. And so what we're going to see though with Intel, especially with Ivy Bridge, they've made major strides in terms of enhancing their graphics performance. I don't think they've closed the gap with AMD in that regard. But they do have better performance, and they do for the first time offer DirectX 11 support, which means the latest games can be run on this platform, compared with the prior the prior Sandy Bridge, where they were only up to DX 10.1. So now AMD has to make the argument that their implementation of DX 11 is better than Intel's implementation. But from my perspective, saying we do it better is always a more difficult argument to make than we do it and they don't. Drivers are a key issue. Intel has a somewhat spotty reputation in terms of driver reliability and also the speed with which they update their drivers when people report problems or in order to enhance performance, compared with AMD, who tries to put out a new iteration of its drivers every month. Now, some months those drivers have fewer new features than others, but in general AMD stuck to a monthly schedule. Intel's schedules are a bit more haphazard in that regard. And I think the combination of Ivy Bridge, Windows 8, and an Ultrabook form factor will be a very compelling product for many customers. And then AMD, not to be left out of the picture, is targeting their own low-power versions of their Trinity processor that also can go into ultra-thin form factors. The AMD requirements in terms of the other system elements that are going into the thin and lights, or the ultra-thins, based on Trinity, are not quite as demanding as what Intel is asking in order to meet the definition that gets you the Ultrabook sticker. And therefore, the AMD products will probably be priced $100 to $200 lower than the Intel-based formal Ultrabook offerings. And I think that will give consumers interesting opportunities to say, well, I really like everything about Ultrabooks, but you know, they're asking me to pay $200 more than I would for a mainstream product, and I can get something that sort of looks like an Ultrabook, but I can keep the $200 and use that for other things, buying software or buying a fancy dinner or whatever it might be. And you know, some customers will go one way and others go the other, and that's what makes markets interesting. Well, in order to meet the requirements for the rapid start and rapid response capabilities in the Ultrabook, almost all of these designs are going to include some elements of solid-state disk drives, either a small buffer or a complete SSD implementation. AMD doesn't have that requirement. And so that's going to be a big part of the difference in cost. Battery life, I think, will be similar between the two categories. AMD's talking about a 17-watt kind of product. Intel's talking about 18 watts. I don't know that that 1 watt's going to make a huge difference there. Also, I think many OEMs are going to be putting fancier cases around their Ultrabooks, often machined aluminum cases or magnesium cases. I think a lot of the AMD cases will be based on plastic. They will look pretty. They may have similar kinds of durability factors, but are they going to be mistaken in the airport for a MacBook Air by the casual observer? Maybe not.
Thank you, Nathan.